For any of you white men out here complaining about diversity hires, let me ask you this. Have you or your ancestors ever had to worry about being owned by black folks? Did you ever have anything that belonged to you otherwise taken from you, such as, I don't know, your land? Did anyone ever snatch your kids out of their mother's arms to be taken away and stripped of their language or culture while being abused by priests or nuns and possibly killed and buried in an unmarked grave? Have you ever been forced to sit in the back of a bus or use a different washroom because of your skin color? Have you ever been restricted from voting or owning property or opening your own bank account? Have you ever been humiliated, mocked, or laughed at because you were straight? Like, did anyone ever try to pray the straight out of you? Beat you and try to force you to be gay? No? Then cry me a river. You sit there on your throne of privilege and you don't even realize that what you're really butthurt about is that other people just want to be treated fairly and equitably and have just a fraction of what you've taken for granted your entire life. So listen up, Chad. If a black woman got the job ahead of you, it's because she was equally, if not more, and it was probably more, qualified than you. It's not because she's black or a woman. It's because you assumed your white skin and male gender would get you a job you weren't qualified for just because you have that white skin and are male. Maybe you should have hit the books harder instead of banking on your privilege. Because women, people of color, indigenous people, and LGBTQ plus folks certainly didn't have the privilege of taking that for granted. They put in the work. They had, in fact, to work even harder than you, had more barriers to overcome, and still managed to eat your lunch. Congrats. Maybe you could learn a thing or two from them instead of whining like a baby about it over your third rye and Coke. Hey, I recently started a YouTube channel. I'm in the process of migrating videos from here to there, and you can find the link in my bio. If you're a fan of my content here, please give me a follow there too. Peace, and if you're not already following me here, you should. It's going to be a ride.
So there are a group of white people on the internet very sad and very mad that black people are now getting jobs, or black people are now getting certain sports or having certain titles that they deem not necessary for them, or they deem like they shouldn't have gotten them, mind you, right? And they're terming it as diversity hires. They're not seeing it as, hey, this is a black person who actually grinded, who worked so hard to get what they have, to have what they have, to access what they have. They had to overcome so much. They had to overcome so much trauma to have what they have, right? No, it's more like, oh my God, you only have this because you're a diversity hire. That's just it. They overlook all these other things that people have done, right? Because to them, they're so used to the nepotism, the favoritism, the white privilege, things working out in their, things working out for them, that when things don't work out for them, all of a sudden it's just like, oh my God, no, you only got a sport because you're black. And just like, excuse me? What? Let's dive in. Hi there, my name is Janita Maya. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, please make sure that you do subscribe. And thank you so much for clicking this video. Let's dive in.
Another Virginia university is now under investigation by the Trump administration. George Mason University is under investigation by the Department of Education over its diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, policies. In a statement, GMU said the university received the most recent letter of investigation at the same time as news outlets. U.S. Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia weighed in on the situation.
If you're treating it as fair investigation, you let the subject of the investigation know so they can respond. But if it's a political setup job, you let the university know, at the same time you give it to right-wing media and let them run wild with it.
We have a lot more details on what exactly this latest investigation entails on 13newsnow.com. Just click the link below.
We've ended the tyranny of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies all across the entire federal government and indeed the private sector and our military. And our country will be woke no longer. We believe that whether you are a doctor, an accountant, a lawyer, or an air traffic controller, you should be hired and promoted based on skill and competence, not race or gender. Very important. You should be hired based on merit. And the Supreme Court, in a brave and very powerful decision, has allowed us to do so. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. We have removed the poison of critical race theory from our public schools, and I signed an order making it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Okay, so this is hilarious. I just saw this white lady on here complaining that she just lost her job because she was hired under the diversity, equity, and inclusion program at her work. And you can see she didn't want to say it, but she really wanted to be like, but I'm not black. But that's not what diversity, equity, inclusion meant. The #1 recipient of DEI hires is white women. The #1 people who have benefited the most from this whole affirmative action and DEI hired has been white women, 100%. And now all these white women who voted for Donald Trump are going to find out that DEI included them. And I'm sorry, but this is one of the best around and find out moments yet, because these women are the ones who deserve to be fired. I'm sorry, like, if you voted for Donald Trump and you get fired because you were a DEI hire, don't come looking to me for sympathy.
Whoever said black commentators can't be as ignorant as white commentators? Candace Owens says she is terrified of women pilots as she joins other conservatives criticizing diversity, equity, and inclusion hiring practices because they supposedly give jobs to people based on race or gender and not on their credentials. Well, she and others who sing this warped tune are just blind to the fact that qualified applicants of color and women across the board have been denied opportunities for more than a century. Their blindness to the truth, whether through ignorance or intent, warps their positions and their opinions. Now, Owens defended comments made by some guy named Charlie Kirk, who's the founder of a conservative group called Turning Point USA. And his well-reasoned opinion went something like this: I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. And Owens felt his pain. She said, it makes me upset that my thought process when I see a commercial and when I see a movie is this person actually even a good actor, or are they just checking a box? I would be terrified if I got onto a plane and I saw a woman flying the plane. Wow. How comes Owens isn't terrified and outraged by the mediocre rich white people who have been getting into schools, jobs, airline pilot seats, and movies with roles as actors under legacy admissions? The money scandal at USC and other schools with actors and other rich people paying for their children to be admitted based on, once again, fiction, not fact. I'm not sure what's worst here. Owens's hypocrisy, her ignorance, or her arrogance.
When Charlie Kirk was assassinated for his political beliefs, there were 58 Democrats who would not vote for a resolution to honor him. So
and I was one of them.
Why do you think it was?
I don't mind honoring anybody's life. I've got a problem with their legacy. And I know what the legacy of Kirk was. When I turn on my TV and I see someone telling me what an awful person Martin Luther King Jr. was, when I see somebody telling me if I get on an airplane and there's a black pilot, I begin to wonder, is he qualified? What does that mean? That's Those are the words that came out of his mouth.
That's not what he said. And
that is exactly what he said. I got the exact quote.
It's not in context at all what he was talking about. It was a conversation about affirmative action. You know that, Congressman. This has been well litigated and well debated.
Everything about black people is about affirmative action. And so what's wrong with affirmative action?
No.
Look, you're telling me that when I came out of college and couldn't get a job, that was because I was not qualified?
That's not what I'm saying.
But what are you saying?
What I'm saying is Charlie Kirk was very clear. If these companies openly say that they have to somehow fill a quota of people, whether it be a race or gender, not based on merit, but based on their race or gender, the obvious should be clear to everyone, which is that person then qualified?
So
that's an obvious question. Because of the bar that the corporation itself set up by saying publicly, we're going to do this type of DEI hiring, then you have to wonder, is it because of their race or their gender?
Can I just that's not what it is. Hold on a second. That's not what it is. Hogan, why would you have to wonder? Yeah, I mean, why would you have to wonder that? Yeah. The only reason you would wonder that is if you're inclined to believe that nobody can be qualified if they are black and brown going into those roles. But here's one other thing that I think is just a factual dispute with what you're describing. You're suggesting that the standards are lower for people of color filling these roles when there is absolutely
the exact opposite.
No evidence.
The exact opposite.
No, but that's what you said.
No, it isn't.
Hold on, Hogan. You said that they are only getting these jobs because of their race or gender.
That's not what I said.
And not because they are qualified. So are they qualified or not?
That's not what I said.
Are they qualified or not?
What I said was
hold on, Hogan, is a pilot sitting on an airplane, flying a plane, whether he's black or white or a woman or gay or lesbian, if they are sitting in that seat and they meet the FAA requirements for being in that seat, are they qualified?
If they are qualified, I sure hope so.
But you don't believe that they're qualified
because of what?
That's not what I said.
What I said was if the criteria was their race or gender,
then
how am I to know if the qualification is there?
That
we
is
had a president of the United States.
We had a
president of the United States,
Hogan,
Joe Biden, who came out and said he wanted
I don't want you to change the subject
woman
because
of
you are
color
making
to be the vice president. So when I noticed that's what he said, that's not my fault. Joe Biden said it.
You were in the White House when Donald Trump said he was going to put a woman on the Supreme Court, and then he picked Amy Coney Barrett. Is she not qualified?
She is extremely qualified.
Okay, so why is she qualified, but Ketanji Brown Jackson is not?
He talked about the qualification as well. What I'm saying is, in that clear directive from Joe Biden, in the clear directive from those companies, they are saying we are filling a quota.
Let me ask.
They're not even saying filling a quota.
I'm going to ask you again because I think you have another opportunity to really think this through. Donald Trump said, "I am going to pick a woman to go on the Supreme Court." Oh, you know what? Let me give you another one.
So should he not have
George H.W. Bush said, "I am going to pick I'm going to pick a black man to fill a role on the Supreme Court." Are those people unqualified?
I want always the most qualified people to hold those jobs.
Are they qualified or not?
It depends on their qualification.
Was it a quota or not?
It's always a quota when you base it on race or gender. If you base it on qualification, if the person is hired as black or a woman or whatever, it doesn't matter. That's
Let me just ask you a direct question.
It's the ultimate meritocracy.
Is it okay for Donald Trump to have DEI quotas or not?
It's not okay for anyone to have DEI quotas.
So then why did he have a DEI quota, by your definition, for Amy Coney Barrett?
He didn't. He said that was one of the selections. People said he should fill it with a woman.
Okay. He said he was going to fill it with a woman, and he did.
He did not only.
The phrase diversity hire seriously needs to disappear from STEM. And if you want to know why, the short reason is because it's a myth. The long answer is this. When we talk about diversity and equity in STEM, what we're actually doing is acknowledging that all demographics face their own challenges. There is a reason that minorities in STEM are minorities, and it's not because they're any less capable. And the important thing is to remember that these different challenges require different solutions and different levels of support to help close these gaps. We all agree that STEM should be a meritocracy. The problem is at the moment, it's not.
All right, guys, thank you so much. We've come to the end of this video. I hope that you did enjoy it. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and please make sure you subscribe for more videos like this. I'll log out now, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.